George just outruns everybody to the end zone.
Eddie George recruiting you. Think about what that does for your program, the momentum, and then what the players on the team can learn from a college football Hall of Famer.
Awesome stuff. Welcome back to Inside College Football. We are pleased to be joined by the head coach of the Bowling Green Falcons, an Ohio State legend, former Heisman Trophy winner, and rival turned teammate of Kevin Carter in the NFL. It's Eddie George. Eddie, thank you so much for joining us. How's your first season as the head man at Bowling Green going so far?
It's going fairly well, but first, before I get into that, yes, Kevin was my teammate, but I tell you what, he was a hell of a player, and he gave us all kind of fits when he was at the Rams, and a great Super Bowl that we played in. Never forget that final drive when we're all dead tired.
Oh, man.
Leaving. Yeah, it was just left everything on the field, and that was the day for Warriors, man. And I had the pleasure of getting to know Kevin through the years, his family. And I'm so proud of him because our career started on TV together in Nashville when we were doing the broadcast of the Cincy Titan games. And it's a pleasure to see him thrive in his business and what he's doing. And me, I made several pivots since then, you know, from the Broadway stage. I had my finance company and became the head coach at Bowling Green now. So my first year, it's learning lessons. I'm learning a lot about this team. I got here kind of late in the game in the spring. And my whole thing right now was the identity of this football team is to really build the culture and establish the standard. And it's all about discipline and development and using discernment and how I'm going to coach and develop the character of these young men. And as a byproduct of that, we will, build championship habits, and we will build a championship atmosphere and a team. Hopefully, that we can hoist up a trophy. So, right now, the results for us on our record is 3-5, but we're growing through those losses. We're growing through the wins and the losses in terms of how do we view it? How do we learn? How do we grow? How do we find out more about ourselves? Through the disappointments. And that's kind of where we are right now. We had a very tough last couple of weeks. We're down to our third to fourth string quarterback, still being very competitive when we play. And now it's about getting better and winning the month of November and going into the offseason strong.
Go ahead.
Well, I would just say this, OVC Coach of the Year at Tennessee State, and now you take the next step. You mentioned all the other things that you have done. You really are a renaissance man. How much pride do you take in the accomplishments you've had in the different fields that you've been in?
Well, Brent, honestly, my goal prior to coaching was to be the first man to have a HEGOT. Okay, there's the Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony, right? So I wanted to be the first man to have a HEGOT where it's a Heisman, Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony. That was my goal. Okay, that was my new goal. But you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. And someone put on my heart that, Glenda Glover, the former president of Tennessee State, asked me to be the head coach at Tennessee State, and I didn't take it seriously for about 2 or 3 weeks, and I was like, there's no way I'm doing this. I never coached. I'm not interested. I was going to give her a hard or a soft no. But what it did, it just inspired something in me. Like, man, if I were to coach, what would I do? How would I start my program, and why would I do it? And when I asked myself the question, why, and I can give back to the game that gave so much to me and how I can help these young men transition from football to life and get them to see there's more to life than just the NFL. That just exploded something in my chest, in my heart, in my spirit that said, I have to do this. And I did it. And it was hard lessons in the beginning, but it's so gratifying when you see a kid get his graduation. It's gratifying when you see the light bulb go off. It's gratifying when you see a kid who's been struggling in his grades in school, that he's now thriving as a student, and he's really bought into the lifestyle that we're creating, whether it was at Tennessee State and now Bowling Green. It is awesome. And I had the opportunity to coach my son too. So It's been great.
Now, I know Eric probably has a different answer and opinion of the situation, because it's hard to, to be the preacher's kid or the coach's son, so to speak, in this situation. But talk about making the transition from FCS to FBS football. And you talked about the passion, and I hear it in your voice. And, I'm kind of at an advantage because I know you better than everybody else here. I know that when you go into something, you put your whole heart into it. I know that it had to have been something that just, something bit you when you got into coaching to make you, make this commitment and go forward. I mean, and congrats on your success at TSU, Ohio Valley Coach of the Year 2024. Championships and everything. Man, congratulations on what you've done thus far. But talk about the transition and what it was in you that awakened and, what made you want to take the next step to an FBS football level.
Yeah, well, you know what, Kevin? It came up on the time where last year, my contract, and I'm like, okay, well, what's next? And I didn't know, what was going to be for me at the end of this deal, whether I was going to really immerse myself into the coaching lifestyle and move my family around. And when this opportunity came up with Bowling Green State to interview, I really had to ask myself the question of, okay, it was cool to be in Tennessee because I didn't have to leave. I didn't have to my family. I didn't have to sell my house. I didn't, my life completely changed, so it took a lot of time to really think about, okay, this is a full-time commitment. I'm going to be fully immersed in this. I'm going to pray on it. I'm going to see what's next and talk to my wife, my family. And it just made sense. I felt a peace about it. It wasn't anything, well, hey, it's in Ohio. They have NIL money. They got this. All that stuff matters, in terms of the vision with the president and, of course, our AD. But at the end of the day, if I didn't have a peace in my spirit about it, I wasn't going to make the move. So I felt good about it. My son and I, he was ready to make the move as well. I felt like it was a good time for my family to do something new. We have pivots in life, and I'm back in the shadows of Columbus, which is not too far from Bowling Green. And I'm familiar with Ohio, and it's a great challenge. And the community here at Bowling Green State has been absolutely phenomenal in terms of supporting us and supporting my family and giving me an opportunity to lead this team to great heights.
And you know what? And also, of course, Taj looks good in orange. Right?
Yes, he does.
So,
yes, he does.
Because if mama's not happy, then there's nobody happy in the house. So Taj likes the color orange. Those of you who don't know, his wife, okay, we all outkicked our coverage, okay? Right. And even the great Eddie George is married to just a beautiful woman. Taj, she's 1/3 of SWV, okay?
Yes.
If you need to do a Google search on this man to see all that he's done in his life, okay? Y'all don't know him like I know him, okay? This man is a person that got me into yoga. This man got me into expanding my thought and meditating. You were such a good teammate, Eddie. I mean, seriously, I'm blessed to know you and having walked part of my professional journey with you. But that's one thing that I think that you do have to pass on to these kids. It's like, how you reinvent yourself, how you're able to take these different challenges, outside of football. You've been on stage, you've been on Broadway, you have a financial investment company. Now you're coaching football, and then you're having a chance to coach your son. You've done so many things, but that transition, having the strength to do that, man, that is invaluable to the kids that you're coaching right now. Well,
I tell them, you got to be all in. And I definitely burn the ships. I uprooted a place from, Kevin, as you know, my entire career was spent, with the exception of 1 year, in Nashville. The last 27 years, I lived in Nashville. I watched this city go from a small town into this metropolitan, this world-renowned phenom, where it's a destination now. And it took a lot for me to say, okay, I'm going to leave and come to Bowling Green and try something different. And I feel really at peace at it. And you know what's amazing, Kevin, is that all the things that I've done has prepared me for this position. And as when I think about it, you know, I'm like, man, okay, I've done all these things, and I'm yet again pivoting. Well, it prepared me as an actor. It taught me that I have to listen, learn to be vulnerable, share stories, and as a leader, I find that some of the best leaders are vulnerable and they are relatable. And I create an environment where my kids can thrive, can heal, can fail, can feel it's okay to feel vulnerable, to really come in touch with who they are as young men, because oftentimes, you know, these kids are bringing a lot of trauma, a lot of baggage into these facilities. And I'm a coach that, hey, I want to have a real connection and build and understand a relationship with the kid. And if I don't know who you are, I can't coach you to your best. So I found that now with the transfer portal and NIL, it's become so transactional. So there's the opportunity for me to connect with these kids at a level and allow them to be vulnerable and to be themselves in this environment. So, yeah, it was a very difficult decision to make, but I think the day by day, I feel like, man, I made the right decision, and I can always go back to Nashville. That's not going anywhere.
I love it. Let's have a little fun with you here. It's been discussed on our broadcast this season that you look like you're still in playing shape. Do you think there's another current college football coach out there that could tackle you in the open field?
Oh. Oh man, a current college coach that can tackle me in the open field. I'll say Kurt Signetti, because he's very confident.
Okay, yeah, he gives off the toughness.
He gives off that confident toughness. You know, I definitely think he can definitely try to tackle me.
He doesn't lack for confidence. We know that. So let's switch it up. Let's be honest. Nobody really can. He can't do it. Which current college football coach do you think could beat you in the 40?
Ooh. Oh, all of them. I can't run right now.
You look like you can.
I have two new knees. They're brand new, 2 years old. I'm as happy walking fast. My 40 days are long gone. So I'm not sprinting anymore. I'm doing light jogs. I'm walking on the treadmill at an incline now. I'm swimming. So listen, they can all beat me. You know.
All right, one more for you. You famously won the Heisman Trophy as a Buckeye back in '95, beating out Kevin's quarterback, Danny Werfel. What do you remember most about that season?
Woo, man, it was magical. Oh, man, I think back to that time. And I often go back to those times as a player that season and draw a lot of my coaching philosophy off of those times, because I was not picked to win the Heisman in my senior year. And I had literally came out of nowhere. And I just remember, you know, that season I dedicated to being the best teammate and helping my team win a national championship, get to a Rose Bowl, because I felt like we had the pieces and parts of it. And I said, if I can do that, if I can just be the best teammate, be the best player on this team, because we had some dudes now, Orlando Pace, Sean Springs, we had some dudes, Terry Glenn, God bless his soul, that any accolades at the end of the season would be there. So it was a magical year. And I just remember when we went up to play Boston College in New York in the Meadowlands for the kickoff classic. We took a trip to Statue of Liberty, Wall Street. And at the time it was the home of the Heisman, and they had the Downtown Athletic Club. So we took a trip there, went and looked at the Heisman, and you walked into this wood oak paneled room with all of the Heisman Trophy winners, their portraits up on the wall. When you walked in, and you can smell the richness, you can smell the greatness, and I get goosebumps when I think about it, because I was like, oh man, this is different. And in the lobby was a Heisman Trophy win. It was the Heisman Trophy itself, the replica of it, and we all took a picture by it, and I stayed behind. And I said a small prayer, and I said, I'll be back to come get you. And and lo and behold, I came back that December, I think the 13th or 14th, 1995, picked up the trophy, and my life changed. And man, it was really a special time in my life.
You manifested that. That is awesome. As for the current Ohio State Buckeyes, Jeremiah Smith putting up impressive numbers again in his second season there in Columbus. Is there a wide receiver prospect you remember that was better than Jeremiah Smith?
At Ohio State or in general?
In general.
I think, well, Randy Moss. I mean, Randy was special. I have to say, Terry Glenn was awfully special. I'm a little biased because that was my teammate. I don't think he gets enough credit for the year that he put up at Ohio State was legendary, and he missed a couple ball games, and he was dominant. And if it wasn't going to be me for the Heisman, I would definitely say Terry was probably the best player in the country, because you just go back, and I challenge anybody just to go back and look at when we played Penn State in 1995 at Penn State. Just the route running that he had, it was masterful. He was running pro routes in the collegiate level. I mean, his stems, the leverage, the body torsion, the body control. I mean, just his range, his radius, everything. It was just nuanced and so detailed that you don't see that nowadays. And man, Terry was just an amazing player. But Jeremiah is a beast. He deserves all the love. But Ohio State has put some great receivers out in the past. Feels like 20 years.
Yeah, Joey Galloway is angry right now at what you just said.
I know.
You know this because Joey has beef. Joey can love you and still have beef with you. He's definitely mad about that.
Yeah, but Joey, listen, I played with some great receivers. Joey, Terry. Joey was probably the fastest of them all. And Terry was like a fourth. Listen, Joey Galloway ran a 4.17 hand time at his pro day, and I was there to witness that. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
The great Eddie George, well done. We appreciate it. Best of luck the rest of the way in your first season there at Bowling Green, Coach.
Hey, guys, thanks for having me on. I'm honored. Kevin, once again, man, you're killing it. When I can, I will try to watch your shows, and you're doing your thing. And I pray that one day that you'll have a chance to call or talk about our game and talk about how great Bowling Green is and hold up a national championship trophy.
I'm coming to see you up in Bowling Green. So whenever you have a break and you need an extra D-line coach to come in for a little weekend or the spring football, you let me know.
Hey, man, you're always welcome, brother.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, bro.